Ajama. The newspaper review is where we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. And yes, you can send your comments, send us your contributions, or your suggestions on how these issues would have been handled, or if they would have been handled better across different Nigerian newspapers we're going to be talking about now. Send us your text or your WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. All right, let's go over the headlines. I'll be starting off with the Punch. On the Punch newspapers, presidential primary screening, APC questions Tinubu, Umahi, Bakari, others on foreign citizenship and consensus. Anambra gunmen kill policeman, steal rifle, kidnap vigilante chairman. A lot be happening in Anambra State. Anambra lawmakers killing invokes panic. Killers vow to go after politicians. Obi would have been my presidential running mate, says Kwakwaso. Doubt over abducted train passengers rescue. New video surfaces. Over to the Vanguard newspapers.
On the Vanguard newspapers, criminals have made kidnapping and killing a lucrative enterprise. This is according to Soludo. African Free Trade Union says Nigeria must focus on $10 million export advantage. SSA says to Buhari. Petrol subsidy could hit 6 trillion by the end of the year, IMF warns. Another explosion rocks Kaba in Kogi State. Insecurity, Nigerian leaders must step up, the UN cautions. Over to the Guardian newspaper.
On the Guardian newspapers, Obi's emergence as Labour Party presidential candidate offers hope, says Obi Digbo. Nigeria records 21 fresh cases of monkeypox, 1 death. Gunmen attack Anambra Broadcasting Station, set vehicles ablaze, injure staff. Jonathan absent as APC screens presidential aspirant. Biafra Day, Enugu, Anambra and Imo State residents comply with sit-at-home order. Over to the Nation newspapers.
Yes, kidnapped Methodist prelates and others regain freedom. Man injured and son abducted in Abuja. Businessman held over fake anti-malaria import. On This Day newspapers.
On This Day newspapers, fuel subsidy may hit 6 trillion naira in 2022. IMF warns Nigeria. This is coming in from Mogalu. Alleged $35,000 bribes for party delegates. Dangerous omen for 2023. INEC reacts to election guidelines adjustment. Says it is not unilateral. Okonjo-Iweala calls for global solidarity in crisis response. APC screens Tinubu, Amusu, Amechi, Badaru, Wajuba, and 6 others. Over to the Daily Trust newspapers.
On the Daily Trust, beer parlor owner and 10 others hospitalized in Kogi explosion. Terrorism, banditry causing loss of lives and resources. This is according to COAS. Tinubu commiserates with Wike over stampede. Assailants' children found as Abuja Kaduna train attackers issue fresh threat. 500 new Cameroonian refugees flee to Nigeria's Cross River community. On the pen pushing newspapers.
Finally, on the pen pushing newspapers, Social Democratic Party governorship candidate risk losing tickets over alleged fake clearance certificates. And this these are the headlines making the round this morning across different Nigerian newspapers, and we have our analyst joining us live in the studio as we get to discuss these issues. Send us your comments, send us your contributions on 070-317-56537. Good morning, Obidi Olara Wajilubinko. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Esther Alaribe. I am fine. And how are you too?
Oh, you're doing great. Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, huh?
Thank you. Good morning.
I like the show, Esther.
What? Hope you're doing great, Lincoln.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
All right.
It's money.
Everybody needs money.
That's it. And everybody.
Every single person needs money. Who doesn't need money?
I'm not single, I'm married.
Okay.
Yes, Robertson. Yes. No, valid. It's okay. It's fine. That's fine. All right. So, which one do you think you'll be going with first?
Okay. Without hesitation, I'm just going to go for. We're disappointed by your exemption. Group tells INEC. Now, This one is saying the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, in a statement, has criticized the decision of INEC to extend the primaries for political parties. This says that INEC had said previously that they had announced the extension of the deadline for party primaries after immense pressure. Now, the APC announced the postponement of the primaries and said the Situation Room is disappointed that INEC backtracked on its insistence of not extending the deadline for political parties to conclude their primaries and submit a list of candidates. So, on one hand, I'm thinking, is this a problem? On the other hand, INEC literally said that they would not alter the timetable or anything, and now this is coming up. So, what exactly is the intention of INEC? In line with the extension of the dates for the primaries, and why is this particular political party super upset about it?
When you go to the court of law, some cases are always lost on technicality.
Okay.
So this is one of such cases. It's a technical one. Like INEC rightly said, they never changed the timetable. It's just a case of within those days of seemingly extension, there was supposed to be no activities, and then the political parties, not just APC alone now, but all the political parties approached them like, instead of leaving this fallow, please let's maximize it. I mean, and coincidentally, I think it's just about only PDP that had done their primaries
at the time.
I mean, and I don't think there's anything we should call foul about. The timetable is still scheduled. It's just a case of maximizing time. And if the political parties had requested for that, I mean, jointly, I think we should give credit instead to INEC for having a listening here, because at the end of the day, that could have been a basis of excuses. But now, I mean, it's still within the same window.
So the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room are the ones criticizing INEC right now. Do you think, or why do you think that's the case? Is this just a case of disappointment, or is there something else backing this criticism?
The fact remains we cannot sleep and Korisi come out. You know what I mean?
Okay, totally.
So based on that, they have a right to their opinion. And the funny thing is, the political parties affected, I mean, nothing like this does not bring to disrepute the INEC process or the INEC institution. So I don't think it's not something we should overflog. Even the political parties are not complaining.
True.
Yeah. So for the civil society, I mean, they're only living up to expectation. One thing about opposition is you must always have something to say, irrespective of how. I mean, you must just always have something to say.
All right. So still on this particular case, so there was this headline yesterday where Serap was asking the chairman of INEC to extend the voter registration exercise. So since you are extending for the political parties, do the same for Nigerians, so they have more time to go register for their PVCs and all of that. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Nigerians are asking for it. And, the election is still about we're still looking about 7 to 8 months away. It's not too much of a demand for the people of Nigeria. We can only just hope that Nigerians will take advantage of that and do what's right by them. That's get their PVCs and get prepared at hand for 2023, hopefully.
So, but if we look at this, so I read somebody was saying that Nigerians are just on serious for over a year. People have still not gotten it, and I'm just wondering. These people work Mondays to Fridays, yes, valid. Some people also work Mondays to Friday. For some people, for them to be able to leave their place of work, to go, and have you seen what it looks like trying to get your PVC or going for the
It's an entire process.
I think I experienced it in 20. Is it 18 now?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something I've experienced very well, and I've been experiencing it since I came of voting age. However, I think the process is getting simpler by the day now.
You think so?
I think on my alumni group just yesterday, someone was sharing the link, and so it took him less than 3 minutes. Probably the collection, we can always complain about the collection, but the fact remains we are still evolving, and we should always give room for development.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Lubinko. Yes, you can send us a text, send us a message on 070-317-56537. All right, so I'll be going over this one on this day newspapers. And this one says Moghalu alleged $35,000 bribes for party delegates, dangerous omen for 2023. Now, this one is coming from a presidential aspirant on the platform of the ADC, Professor Kingsley Moghalu. So he's saying that all of this money here and there being given out to delegates, when things get to social media, you don't even know who's trying to make mockery of it and who's trying to be real about it. So people made some post online saying our delegates don't buy new motto, all of this election, our election, delegate, things like that, with money here and there. And now Kingsley Moghalu is coming out to say that this might actually mark the 2023 elections, because when you cannot trust the delegates to bring forth a candidate that is credible, just based off of the fact that yes. So now you have to give people money for them to vote for you, and at the end of the day, the masses are left with these people that you've pushed forward as your flag. So what do we have at the end of the day?
It's a continuous unfortunate thing that keeps playing out, and I was thinking in my head yesterday, even to be a delegate, there's supposed to be a benchmark. There's supposed to be a prerequisite qualification, because most of the time we realize that these delegates are the ones that eventually give us whoever is going to lead us. So it behoves even on the political parties to choose people that are morally sound, academically sound, and qualified. Because a lot of times we realize that the delegates don't even know their right from their left. And that's where I would want to talk to Nigerians. I mean, there was a video trending about one chief Agoro or something.
That particular one, yes.
I mean, it's obvious, like being a delegate. I mean, on the social media now, people are now saying they should have studied BSc delegates. We tend to make mockery of everything, but it's a very disappointing situation. A faulty foundation can never stand a solid erection. The fact that people have to buy their way through to pick up the election, I mean the candidature of the party. Look at Wiki, for example.
Okay.
Look at the numbers of cars. Just by what we've seen, without even having mathematical experience or thereabout, you can easily tell that Governor Wiki alone spent nothing less than $35 to $30 billion on this campaign. Where's that money coming from? And I can tell you, like someone was saying, Atiku has contested for 6 times, and in all of the 6 times, he has always outspent every other competitors. Where's he getting the money from? And that, it's quite funny. Just last week or thereabout, it was all over the news that the federal government was going to pump 14 billion naira into ASU, right? But just an individual, that's 14 billion across the universities in Nigeria. The universities in Nigeria is taking care of nothing less than 20 to 40 million of the population because of the youths that are in. And we give them 14 billion after much agitation, after making them stay at home. And one individual, the accountant general now, we're talking about 80 billion. We're talking about another 90 billion.
I mean, it's still an accusation so far.
Allegedly, yes.
I mean, the fact that it's even
Alleged,
and the fact that he has
it's not
started
right.
singing, and he's singing a very good song because we see that he's implicated, just like the Suki Gate. He's singing seriously. It goes to show Nigerians that you guys stop being laid back. Yeah, you guys stop being laid back. I mean,
this morning.
I've never been laid back. I mean, everybody had always known where I stood, and I'm not going to change my ground. So it's just, I hope that I have more people join me in that crusade.
Absolutely.
Stop being laid back and take your country in your hands, take your destiny in your hands. These guys have no plans for you.
We really don't want to start that conversation this morning. It is 12 minutes to 8 on WFM 91.7, and this is the newspaper review. The newspaper review is where we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. And yes, we have our analyst for the morning joining us live in the studio as we get to analyze these issues. My name is Esther Larabe, and I have with me Somto Titilayo Ajama. Our analyst for the morning is Obide Yolariwaji Lubinko. You can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. All right, so we're going to be looking at this other one here on the Punch newspapers, and this one says Anambra gunmen kill policeman, steal rifle, kidnap vigilante chairman. So many stories coming out of Anambra State in recent times. Unpleasant news, I must say, unpleasant. It is either somebody is killing somebody or a lawmaker has been killed. Now, gunmen have killed a policeman and disposed him of his rifle at Ogidi community in a Demili North local government area of Anambra State. Now, it was gathered that the gunmen stationed themselves close to Ogidi town hall, where some policemen usually mount a checkpoint. Now, my point in this, so much of unrest in Anambra State, now they've gone to the point where they now kill policemen. Yes, I know some people will say they died in line of duty, but let's talk about the need to provide maximum security, because we cannot just have security operatives just because they are doing their jobs, and people would just take laws into their hands and kill them just because they think that they are obstructing your flow of whatever illegal activity you want to carry out. And they go ahead killing these people. 2023 elections just around the corner, and we have this already happening.
It's an unfortunate one. Of course, being a policeman, being a soldier, being a naval officer or an Air Force officer, it's an occupational hazard. Dying in the line of duty, it's one of the occupational hazards. But when you die gloriously, then it's good. But when you die like a chicken, it's very disturbing. The security apparatus of the country really needs to be revived. And I think I heard, I was reading, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, when Coas was saying, that's the chief of army staff, was saying that enough had been pumped into the security apparatus, and that Nigeria is now as safe than ever. At times when I read statements like that, I wonder what planets these guys are on. Are they in our same Nigeria? But I still won't take all of this beyond politics. Last week till now, there's been a lot of primaries going on. And funny enough, these primaries are not disrupted as I would have thought it would have been, since some people are agitating that they want to break out. So Nigeria is such a confusing country to study, to understudy, And I think this is the point we need to run back to God.
Ah,
Yeah.
really, Lobinko, really,
Abby,
really.
Abby, decide. Come back to
I'm taken aback by that particular statement because you're the one who's always saying.
I was actually confused. You're the one who's you're being super sarcastic right now.
Thank you. I threw you a line, and funny enough, you caught it. God will come and stop it.
You are totally being sarcastic right now. Now, see, the truth of the matter is,
If never to be caught on fresh was a person, Lobinko would have his picture close to that face because
we've heard countless things about Anambra State,
I mean,
and it's very worrisome the extent in which things have gotten to.
do you know the worry for me is insurgents never takes up a country in a day or in a year. It's gradual. And looking at the trend over the years, it's gradually spreading. It's spreading. I mean, there's news circulating on the social media now.
okay.
Probably it's true or not. I really can't tell. That's about the purported protests by Okada riders on the 1st of June. And the insurgent starts from little things like someone is killed, burnt to death, no justice is given to that person. Those who did it, they've been brazen up. They'll probably do it again, and probably on a larger scale. And I also read on the social media recently the story of a DSS guy who said he was the one that raided and arrested the culprits of the Lekki deaths. But to his surprise, he was told to tender those guys, and when he tendered them, he realized later on in the evening that the names had been swapped. Like those, I mean, you know, when things like this keeps flowing on a new space, it's scary, and it makes one wonder how serious. I mean, if, like he said, he rightly said, he's somewhere in Ghana, and I don't think that had been refuted by the authorities. What he said, it's a big allegation, probably cooked up, or I mean, you know, what.
So there are more words like that you really cannot take because anybody can just sit down in their space and just say anything because everybody has access to social media now. Everybody's talking, everybody's an influencer, everybody wants to say something. So we really can. I actually worry so much for Anambra State is the fact that with
When
all
people
of
say
the
stuff like that, we must go for them because stuff like that cause more division, causes more division amongst Nigerians. And the social media right now is about the most thing,
Can those go and pick
the
up
safest place of picking up
Information.
information. So when something like that happens, these things can be traced. I mean, as a case of national security, even wherever that guy is, I'm very sure that it can be brought down to see his side of. I mean, anybody that wrote it, we can always know,
trace the person.
trace the person. So, I mean,
So a school of thought opines that most of the issues ongoing in Anambra State are politically influenced to disrupt the peaceful flow of work for the newly elected governor, Professor Charles Oludo. And I'm just wondering, why would anybody want to set out to put people's life on the line because you want to disrupt the flow of work of some other person? If you get it, because you know when people just sit in their different corners and just talk about stuff, sometimes yes, even in no sense, there is sense in it when you kind of pay attention to everything. Yes, you might not necessarily take up everything they've said
Or understand it.
but when you actually take out, I'm just wondering why would anybody want to do that and you put the lives of people on the line?
for every war, there are people that have gains from it. And like someone
Is that really any gain in war?
The people who sell ammunition,
there
don't
are
they
people
make
that
money?
have gains in it.
That's even just the beginning.
And you know, like someone I read somewhere, the definition of war is two field people rich people and powerful people
Mm.
harming, at war with each other, harming people that have no differences to kill themselves without ever reaching them up there. And that's, I think that aptly puts it, because most of the time those who give instruction for war, they are really affected. As a way, Anambra is I won't agree to the fact that it's to disrupt Soludo's government.
Okay.
That's considering the fact that even before Soludo came into power,
I was going to say
it's been going on.
Okay.
But then, at that, what's the end game? What's obviously there's some people pulling the strings, and it hurts me to think continuously that Nigeria is so poor that we don't have that strong intelligence, because I believe those are things that could be caught in different ways. It could be caught. Of course, we are where we are because a lot, as like Olarotimi said in his books, the gods are not to blame, and that's why we never blame God for Nigeria. We need to blame ourselves. A lot of those youths that are recruited for this activities, do you know if they had SSC, they probably would have been unrecruitable, just SSC. So all of those things needs to be looked at holistically, and that's why if Nigeria is still going to remain together, there is need for Nigerians, especially the elites, to take the educated ones to be the ones to do the campaign of this forthcoming election. I mean, the fact remains, no politician that doesn't live in Aripo can be as influential in Aripo as I am without the support of some people. So if we know that, and I think I'm an opinion leader, I think it behoves on us as citizens, especially with the educated ones, because at the end of the day, we are even the ones that are at the highest part of risk. We are the ones that would probably eventually be swallowed if things degenerate beyond how it is.
Yes,
so it behoves on us rather than us criticizing, and we should take time, which is something I do. At times you see me around the supposed area boys. You think I'm one of them. The reason is I mix with them just so that I can talk to them. We should not stay away from them, because those guys, like I would always say, majority of them are just unfortunate to be born in Nigeria. And don't be surprised if for any reason they have the opportunity of traveling to Ghana. They will make a better life, not to talk of traveling. So we all to some extent are victims, and we need to start that and create a better camaraderie environment where each one can teach one, and then
yes. I totally agree with creating an environment where everybody can teach the other or enlighten people on what they need to know. But let's not forget the fact that even though we say be out on the road, the Agberos, when you give them money, they can do your stuff. I've actually had interactions with a few of them, and some of them actually know that some of these things that they do, that it's not good. But you will actually be shocked by the number of these guys who they get to pay to do these things, not because they want to do it, but because they need that money.
It always comes down to money at the end of the day.
It's not even about money now. The first rule of human existence is survival. And what's the meaning of survival? At most 010 or 101.
Whichever you can afford.
At times it's not money. And do you know why I can tell you for free it's not money? How can you be sent to kill, to mine, and at the end of the day they're giving 2,000 naira? Is that money? I've had reasons based on my line of profession to relate with some of the talks some people use, like the Omaniles and all that. At times, it still amazes me that upon how ferocious, how rugged you guys are, they will still call me our guy, even if it's 1,000. I never trust it money. So it's not about the money, it's just about survival. I mean, you see an average driver on the road, probably when he makes 10,000 after pursuing all, drain himself totally. His pay for the day is probably just 1,000 or 1,500. So it's not about the money, it's about our eroded, how people's psychology have been eroded, that they don't even know what is good for them. And the fact remains, those who have kept them in that captivity. Those guys, if they have the opportunity, I'm telling you, we saw it during NSAS. So they joined the people to do what? To eat the foods that were served. In some cases,
But they were the same people that we use.
if restaurants you see,
It still goes back to because you said survival.
you know, the
You
reason,
said survival,
the reason
but it
was
goes
simple.
back
The
to
reason why the good have been hijacked by is because what NSAS was doing was not consistent, and then the immediate
when you say
the
no
immediate
consistent, I need to understand what you
the
mean by
immediate-
inconsistency.
No, the inconsistency I'm talking about was what was the drive of NSAS? There were no really negotiations. I mean, NSAS was a good one, but if only we had structure for it and strategy to.
Yes, but that doesn't explain away the fact that they joined initially only to be the same elements.
There's
That's what I'm saying. As much as survival is important,
There's more
because
than
money is the currency for survival at the end of the day.
food.
Not the money. Not the money to buy food.
Okay, I agree.
I'm not going to tell you about
Some money
they're not worth the
it's not worth it.
the crime and
It's not
which
worth
we
it.
agree with, and that's why I buy into the idea of
It's
more
not worth it.
awareness and education.
Yeah.
It's a tragic situation actually, because you can just tell that these people have so much to give if they are put in the right positions and exposed to the right things. And now that this is not the case, Nigerians, Lagos, in fact, Nigerians generally, because youths are largely the ones used to do this kind of things. So we're suffering for it at the end of the day.
You know, like I was saying yesterday on my alumni group, 2023 still for me does not even pretend to give any solution. You know, the fact that people can still easily, I mean, if delegates could be bought that cheaply, what do you think about the ordinary voters? I was in the GRA, was it last week, Monday or Tuesday? I saw these very old women.
Okay.
And they were well over 100, old and young, and littering that Ladoke Akintola axis. There were jeeps inside the Rotary Club. And when you ask these women, they will tell you they are politicians. I was watching a video yesterday where some women were calling for the removal of someone representing the House of Assembly. And when they were asked why, they said he's not taking care of them. When they go to him that our girl, we need help, he doesn't help. And the politicians intentionally keeps the people in this state of not being informed, and then they blackmail us back by saying, "Oh, we are the ones that are causing that." And then, like, we put pressure on them. That's why they have to. So now the responsibility is on all of us as individuals. All of us educate ourselves. The funny thing about talking is, while you're talking, you might not be listened to, but the moment you leave, words have a way of regurgitating itself in people, and who knows?
All right. So, electorate, over to you. It is 7 minutes past 8 on your Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the newspaper review. The newspaper review is where we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. My name is Esther Laribe, and our analyst for the morning has been Lobinko Obide Olarewaju Lobinko. Yes. And and I still have some to Titilayo Ajama. You can send us your text, send us your comments on 070 317 56537. 070 317 56537. Let's take some of your messages we have here. Israel Ogijo says, good morning, WFM crew. Know that the truth is always bitter by haters of the truth. Each time you hear technicality, legality, and diplomacy, let your heart be troubled. Don't forget, technicality brought Sanko Mohammed, the current CJN, to power, and the same rendered Onoge powerless and was unseated as the CJN. The INEC shifting ground new, and they've achieved this aim on other political parties, but to APC, he can shift ground. This so-called technicality and diplomacy is cheating language of the Western world instead of saying the truth. As for Obi, it is a good government.
Let's put that question right. It was not done for APC. It was a coalition of all the political parties that requested for that extension. And so far, so good. I think only PDP is not benefiting from that. Every other political party. After all, Obi was elected just yesterday.
That's why we still get to say that. Most of the times, the loudest voice, probably on social media, what people hear talk about in the street is what people just believe.
Yeah, that's why we need to, when we have the opportunity, we need to reiterate it, the right information,
All right. This message here is from Adeshino Wasiu Nikodo, and this one says, top of the morning to you in the studio. On APC screening, it is clear now that when Asiwaju displayed his credentials, it is overwhelming. As the former governor of Lagos State, the internal generation revenue at then is 600 million, but as of today, the state is generating close to 50 billion naira monthly. As of today, he brings Enron and to generate electricity for the state. But PDP did not give him the license to operate this as an opportunity for APC to excel. If only they give Asiwaju the ticket of APC to fly. He is the most prepared aspirant in APC.
You see, that's another reason we need to educate ourselves.
Okay.
Kudos to Asiwaju is bringing 50 billion. I mean, through him, because of his expertise, because of his wittiness, Lagos is generating 50 billion. But for the life of the people of Lagos, can we display 10 billion? Can we commensurate the lives of Lagosians with 10 billion? The fact that a government does a road, I very much pray that when this road will be launched, I'll be around and I would want to ask the governor a question. Thank you very much, Mr. Governor, for this road. Please, can you tell us how much was expended on this road and why this road that was contracted and was supposed to be executed for 8 months eventually took 2 years? Nigerians need to act quiet. It doesn't take special upload. It follows you. I generate 50 billion every month. We need to see the effect of 50 billion on the life of the people.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Another message here from Tony from Birmingham, and this one says, good morning, presenters and today's analysts. I'm very happy that the aha moment just came knocking on the door of one of the presidential aspirants in APC. Judging from what Chief Olabode George said about the aspirants claiming to have attended Paul's Catholic Primary School in Lagos Island that doesn't exist, and said that what existed in the area was St. John's Catholic Primary School, and boldly said that the person in question did not attend the school with them at all, as the same account was given by the old boys of the Government College Ibadan also claimed that the aspirant and the high school he attended. The court must not muddle water here. So many comments here. Olusegun Ajayi from Mikrodu says, those that are still thinking that recycling these old politicians in the name of election will bring anything positive to Nigeria, they're just suffering from retrospective dementia. They are not different from the man who does the same thing all the time and expects different results from that. It is a pity. We need to change our system. On this one, so when we say we want to change politicians, we want new faces, new people, how many people do we have, actually?
We talked about this yesterday. We keep bringing forward the same set of people.
We have too many people.
But
We have too many people.
As representatives of parties.
We have too many people. I mean, for instance, the just concluded PDP presidential primaries, we saw two people step down. I mean, step out, not down now, step out, based on personal principles. How much is said about those people? Rather, what's making the news, unfortunately, is now that PDP has produced Atiku Abubakar, APC must produce someone who is strong. And guys, Nigeria is not about PDP or APC. Nigeria is about you. You guys need to orient yourself. If a party is I mean, you can imagine what that person said. Now, there's the news there, not verified yet. We're being bamboozled about this person's results. The onus is on Nigerians to make their decision. And the fact remains, unpaid adverts about these disqualities should be more. Let's talk about it. Those of us that know it, let's talk about it. Let's keep talking about it.
Okay.
A lot of times, the paid adverts are so sunk into our heads because it's consistent and it's deliberate that the real news, the real truth, the real facts, we are not aware as a people. So the only way to go about this is keep talking about it.
Okay, so as valid as that is, which is valid, you cannot change the fact that even if there are plenty of people vying for a particular position, after the primaries, that number significantly reduces.
Yes.
Because the parties actually pick the people that they want the ticket to be given to. So at the end of the day, when we have to vote, we can't vote for the people who step down on personal president. We can't vote for the people who did not get the ticket at the end of the day. So as much as we appreciate this
what I'm trying
sentiment,
to tell you is very simple. I've always talked about revolutionary votes.
maybe you need to say more about that.
Zelensky is the president of Ukraine. He was the least seat to occupy that post. Macron, when he was going to come out, he was the least seat before he became that. Can't we repeat something of that nature here? Look at the meaning of revolutionary vote. Not all the big political parties in the world, they brought out people. We've seen people that had left these big political parties. If we think these big political parties are not bringing people of reputation, let's look somewhere else.
Well, that would be, I don't think anybody is hanging or banking on the two major political I think there's as much awareness as is out there. There's an understanding. No, I'm not talking about that. There's an understanding that people need to look outside the everything and prepare.
You see, look at the PDP convention. It just goes to tell you how much these big political parties, politics is for sale. You know, even Wike himself, they showed him politics. Nigerian
even in politics, there's politics.
You know,
definitely.
You know, it was quite funny considering the fact that he was the one that said, whatever the outcome is, he would go by it.
He was confident, definitely.
His narrative yesterday shows how we've not had the last of this. I mean, you know, so
okay.
And if two of them of that magnitude, the contestants now, there's this, I mean, 30,000, 15,000, $10,000.
Okay, but let me ask where the revolutionary vote comes in. In this current situation.
Comes in at the polls. Nigerians, when you're going to vote next year, some people pushed us to that point where NSAS was activated. Those people are still in government. Those people had once been in government. Now let's try new people.
Lubinko.
So, I mean, honestly speaking, it all boils down to the polls at the end of the day, which is why people are saying get your PVCs, pick your candidates. That is not necessarily from either of the major political parties.
Regardless of political party. See,
the thing is not. Understand that it's not about political party. It's not about tribe. It's not about any of that. Call your things. Yes, exactly. Because you only know what you know.
The point for me is considering how PDP primaries had gone. I, as an individual, I already know that I'm not going that way. I'm watching out for how APC will come. It will determine. I've seen how what's the name? Obi's party now. That's Labour Party are turned out, and I have hope. I mean, the fact that someone like Utomi can step down. Oh God. Okay.
We have another message here from Tony, and this one says, the money that has been generated, that was generated then and now is still being siphoned by the same individual. Lagos State may have been overcrowded by people, but not at the same time. The landmass is too small that a visionary leader then or now could have made Lagos the Dubai of Africa, but out of selfishness and greediness, they have shattered the dreams of Lagosians in particular and Nigerians at large. Another message here is from Clement in Ikeja, and this one says, when we talk about these things, I just look at them and shake my head, and I'm just wondering, the same old story. Can we pick up something new? This is Nigeria. We have to talk about these things. Yes, that's what Clement is saying.
We talk about Lagos generating 50 billion and every month. The minimum wage in Lagos still stands at 30,000.
For which not every organization has applied.
There are some minimum wage that is as low as 15,000, mind you.
I'm glad we mentioned
you know, and this is a state. And okay, let's now assume, it's because the state has been spending on infrastructures. I don't think. Anyway. I'm just trying to tell you, Nigerians, Lagosians.
Yeah, so Clement's message here still reads, talking about the same old stories every single time, and it just clearly shows that Clement.
Be patriotic.
Yes, be patriotic, please. Your comment here, okay. So I'll just take the last part of the comment here where Clement says, let's just cross our fingers and look at what is going to be happening come 2023, because with everything I see playing out now, I must say that I have lost hope in the 2023 elections already.
Nothing's going to happen.
It's too early for you to say that.
It's actually not, if we're being honest. It's not too early to say you've lost hope. No, but it's not right to say that you've lost hope.
It's still early. I think it's too early.
The fact remains. Look, let's stop deceiving ourselves in the studio as much as positive we want to be. Even the politicians have lost hope on Nigeria. They're just trying to get there to pick their own piece of the cake.
I think people should just be more positive about it. And this is by sheer will. This is not necessarily because the circumstances say that there will be positivity coming. But we just need to be willfully positive about it.
We walk the talk as a people.
Most definitely. Except
we are ready to walk the talk as a people. The trajectory we have, the projections that are visible, and all of that promises nothing.
But it's still quite early for us to say that. This is just May 22, and
we are talking about this already. So much is going to happen.
Things can still change.
What's going to happen in the next 10 years in the country is determined with what's been happening in the past 10 years. You go to countries like Malaysia. They came to Nigeria. They picked up palm kernels, and that's what they built their industry. I mean, their economy
on.
You go to United Arab Emirates. There was a time when they came to Nigeria and begged Obasanjo to come and invest because then Nigeria was, but we were thinking about Festac 77 then. Now, look at all the money that was expended on Festac 77. United Arab, I mean, when in 1999 it was projected that Lagos and Dubai will be competing. Is Lagos anywhere close to Dubai? Is Lagos generating that funds? The answer is yes. So we need not deceive ourselves. It's not even about the election. It's about the system of execution of programs we have. Now look at the road, the Lagos-Ibadan road that was done yesterday. Go on it. We are already having potholes. What's the quality control method put in place for these things? So it's you look at the same roads done in 1999 in Lagos State. It's the same roads they are still working on. Not even there's difference between maintenance and the construction. But we keep reconstructing the same roads. So what's wrong?
So somebody was saying something the other day about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, that for the past 5 years that this person has been planning this road, there's always one construction or the other being done on that road.
The person is probably new in Lagos along the axis. It's more like that since 2002.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's not even 5 years.
Not even 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
but this person was just saying 5 years.
No, I'm just trying to tell the person it's gone beyond that. I mean, I remember by company, I think Duatu was working on it before he passed on, and then Jonathan took it up, and Babala King. And at the end of the day, what did we hear about? Even all the money expended on it and all of that.
Another message here is from Mr. Innocent in Wawa, and this one says, "Good morning, WFM. How can we have faith in the nation Nigeria when political parties are more concerned about winning elections with anything called candidates? They really don't care about us." When we say they really don't care about us, let's not forget that these people are trying to get into office to see how they can make life easier for us to run the nation better.
Like they've always been making lives easy for us. So let them keep making it easier.
Lobiko, why, of all things,
No, we should pray. We should pray.
what this to be? Of all things, of all the paths to go, you choose to go this route. Well, it's all good, but I'm still going to say it again that let's just keep our fingers crossed. 2023 is fast approaching. Let's just wait, because Clement's comment here saying that he has lost hope in the elections already. It's still very, very early. Anything could actually happen. Anything could actually happen, because any good thing. Because the fact that we see this thing, because that's what we're saying to
should be told any good thing can still happen. But based on the trajectory, based on everything on ground, based on every visible trajectory now, every visible projection now, nothing is coming out of it.
That's why, as you said, people need to talk. People need to go out of their way to actually seek that change they're looking for, and not just sit back and complain. And at the end of the day, when you say, "Oh, at least they need to put whoever they will put," when that now happens, then you keep complaining. So you're not an active change in any way.
That are struggling so hard to get their PVC now, not because they want to vote, but because they have this mentality that when these people enter government, they might want to share something for people with PVC.
I was somewhere someday, and somebody was saying something like, school, like, you can ask the children to bring it to school and things like that. I'm like, so you don't know that there is actually more to the PVC than just
what's even the request for that in the schools?
That's just what they think.
I mean, that is why I said, when you had that, what was your response to it?
I had to talk to the woman, so I spoke to her. Yes. But you know the funny thing, even after speaking to the woman, she still was not convinced. She was like, meaning it's whatever they choose to do, they will do. And a lot of Nigerians have this mindset.
Do you know,
and that's why we need to work on it.
That's why I told you to keep talking. One day I was at Mowe, I actually went for an inspection, and then I just saw these people. Do you know, eventually it turned out to be about 25 of them that I started lecturing on why they need to, I mean, and I can tell you for free that if at the end of the day I was able to convince just one of them, that's a gain for
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why at times we need to keep talking. And
Yes,
don't be
keep
surprised
talking.
when you leave, your words might sink in better. I mean, you're saying wale ni, wale fe fun wan kan. I mean, in the young years of the return of democracy, have they ever called you to give you uncle? The answer is no.
Maybe that one should be an eye opener for Nigerians. All right, thank you so much, Lubiko, for joining us this morning.
Always my pleasure, Esther.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sonto.
My pleasure.
Yep. All right, thank you so much for your text and WhatsApp messages. I see some of you typing. Do want to join us again tomorrow at 7:30 on Women Radio 91.7. This has been the Newspaper Review. My name is Esther Alarabe. As you go about your daily activities, just like we have said, when you meet people and you see people who have certain mindsets about the PVCs or the election, try as much as possible to enlighten them. They really do not know any better, because if they do, they definitely will not say some of the things that they say. So it is in our own interest, our national interest, for you to just take out time to just talk to them, speak to them, and make them know that, okay, this is what it is, and we have to do for ourselves what we have to do for ourselves. God will not do for people what they can do for themselves. Good morning.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or